Welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be showing you how to validate the integrity of files that you've downloaded, because downloading files, it's a lot like it's like letting like strangers into your house, right? Sometimes it goes totally fine, there's nothing that you have to worry about, and then other times they steal your cat and burn your house down. Now, why are we doing this, right? So this is where it kind of gets important. So if we're downloading files from the internet, we obviously have no idea where they're coming from. And they could very, very easily have So what we're getting into is how to actually check the links, check the files, where to acquire all this information, make sure your operating system is up to standards, as well as a few little things here and there that we can do at the end. Just in case all of this isn't up to your standards, there are a few alternatives that you can do just to make your experience a little bit better. So the first thing that we have to do is Now, the previous video that I made and why I'm making this one is because a lot of people were saying that downloading ISOs from third-party sources is really sketchy, and they are absolutely correct. That is really sketchy. But on Massgrave, under Download Windows and Office, we can go back to this link right here where we got the file in the previous video. We can go down until we get to the download link section, and this right here was the one that we were using, and all three of these are included in the ISO, which you would have already seen during the install process. Now, there's a note right here from the developer that says both files are identical, only the name is different. The first link is official from the OEM portal. The second link is from Microsoft Visual Studio and hosted on Massgrave. So just to confirm this, we can right click on the second file, we can copy the link, we can open up a new tab and paste, and right here you can see that this is the entire link from where that file is going to be downloaded from. And you can see that it's drive.massgrave.dev, so that is exactly what they said. So now let's click on the OEM one, and we can right click on this one, again, copy link, go over to our new tab, and let's paste that in, which here is a super long string, but if we go all the way back over to the beginning of it, you can see right here is the actual website that we're downloading from. So to verify that this isn't some super sketchy link, because obviously it has a whole bunch of things before saying Microsoft.com, so we can copy this and we can go to radar.cloudflare.com. Now over here on the left side, we have the Universal Resource Locator Scanner. URL scanner. So we're going to click on that, and in this little box right here, we're just going to paste that link in. Now we can go to public, and you can see here that it's queued, and we're just going to wait until Cloudflare actually scans this and finds all the information that we need on it. So here we have the report on the link that we just put in, and you can see that here the domain, it says uncategorized. Okay, but where does it say the thing? On my phone, the category is actually coming up correctly, and it's saying that it inherits categories from Microsoft.com. So this is the exact same link, but for some reason on Safari it shows this, but on Edge it does not. Let's do this again on Safari, just for macOS, to see if that comes up. It might just be like a mobile thing, maybe. Wow, that's so weird. So for some reason, this is perfect on Safari, on macOS and iOS, but over here, on the old Windows, it's not able to find the category or validate that it's from Microsoft, even though that's the exact same link. That's weird. So your mileage may vary. I guess check on a few different browsers. Maybe try Firefox or something as opposed to Microsoft Edge. Or if you have the ability, then obviously check on Safari, because this clearly works fine. But that's it for this. So we can close this and we can close this. And now we can just click on this link here to actually download the file. And while that's downloading, we need to Now back on the Download Windows and Office page, we clicked this link right here, so that way we can go to it. But if we actually just scroll down a little bit, right here is where we can find validation. So this first one right here is essentially just a search engine for Microsoft servers, as long as you know the actual file name. So we're gonna click on this one here, and we need to enter a file name. So we're gonna go back to Massgrave, scroll back up so we can go to that download link right here. And in here, we need these file names. So we can copy this name right here, because that's the file that we're downloading, that we downloaded. We can go back over here and we can just paste that in. Now you can see that it found the file that we need. So we can click here, and this is the MD5 checksum for it. Now on this page right here, you can see that the actual file name for it is this file name right here, which if we go back here, you can see that that is exactly this file name. F6B14814, F6B14814. It's the exact same file name. If the developer has done absolutely anything to this ISO, the MD5 will not match because the ISO was recompiled. So when it's calculating the MD5, it's going to be different. So this right here is going to be the MD5 that we're looking for. We have to So for this, we can do the Windows key in R, and we can type in CMD to open command prompt. Now in command prompt, we can certify the utility with cert util and dash hash file. Now we're gonna wanna drag the file on here. So we can drag this and just put it right on there. Now at the end of this, we want to do a space and do MD5 so it knows what it's calculating. We can hit enter and there's our full MD5. So now you can just look at the official MD5 for this file and the MD5 that's from the file that we have. This is verifying that this is the exact same file. There have been no changes, alterations, or corruption to this file. Now, your MD5 can also be different if the file did not download correctly. So if the first time your MD5 is different, you can download the file a second time just to verify that it's the same. So for example, let's say that this MD5 right here, it was 777 or something. So something was slightly different with the beginning of it, so it didn't match. And I downloaded this file again, and the second time it was 777. So both of our personal calculations are exactly the same. That means that your file is fine, it's not corrupted, and the file has been changed. Do not use that. Something is wrong, something has been changed. Unless the developer for the file that you're actually downloading has stated why it has a different MD5 from a legit version. So let's say one that's pre-activated is going to be different. If it's a modified version of Windows, it's going to be different. But because we're taking an official OEM copy of Windows and we're activating it ourselves, it should be the actual copy from Microsoft directly, which right here it is 100% confirmed that the file downloaded from Massgrave through the direct link to Microsoft is coming up with the exact file that it should be. There's nothing wrong. This is a legit copy. And for whatever reason, this is a perfect example. Couldn't download, network issue. Not sure why, so let's just start that again. And sometimes when you do this, that introduces corruption into the file. So this might not actually download, and judging by the time on it, it might actually fail again. Now, if you're not one for command prompt, we can also use PowerShell. So we can right click and open PowerShell. Now in here, this is gonna be case sensitive. So we have to do get-file hash, and then we're just going to drag in that exact same file again. Now at the end, we're going to do a space dash, and algorithm is going to be MD5. Now, if you don't specifically allocate this algorithm, it's going to do it in SHA 256, which is still fine because on that website right here, this one, we have the SHA 256 for it. So you can do MD5 or SHA 256 if you want, just by changing the algorithm that's going to be used. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to stay with MD5 just to validate, so that way we're getting the same number every single time and it's not super confusing. Now this is calculating, so we can just kind of move that over, and we're just going to make sure that the MD5 matches again, which it's obviously going to because we've already done this on command prompt. So right here, MD5, there's our hash. That's what was calculated off of this ISO, and that matches the MD5 directly from Microsoft. What we've done so far is we've just validated that Massgrave is a legitimate source, it can be trusted, and the files are in fact coming directly from Microsoft with full validation that it actually is the legit file from Microsoft. So now that you have your shiny new operating system installed, how do we verify that nothing went wrong after we activated it? Now, the first easy thing that we can do is just open Windows Defender, and under Virus and Threat Protection on the left here, we can go down to Virus and Threat Protection Settings. We can manage settings. We can go all the way down to the bottom where the exclusions are, and we can add or remove exclusions. Now in here, you can see that there are no exclusions from Windows Defender. This means that there are no malicious files that are on the computer that Microsoft Defender has manually been told to ignore, which back in the olden days, everybody knows that you have to add your keygen extensions and your cracks to this, otherwise they get deleted, because those are technically malicious files to a program that's on a computer because it's forcing an activation. So if this isn't your first rodeo, then this is no surprise to you. And the fact that nothing is in here means that nothing has been done. So how can we look into this further? Well, let's go to the firewall and network protection. And we're just going to ignore all this junk. We're going to go straight to the advanced settings. Now in this window, we can just kind of go through here and see if there's any applications that are weird, stuff that we're not familiar with. Now, a lot of this is going to be likely like nonsense jargon or whatever, but to make it easier to go through, we can open Task Manager and we can go to Network. Now on network, these are the things that are being used the most. So we can just start at the most, obviously. This is NordVPN. I use it. It's great. There's no issues. That's not malware. Remote desktop. Well, that's what we're using right now. That's how you're seeing this because I'm on a MacBook. So these are all normal Windows tasks. For whatever reason, you have something weird in here. Like what is Runtime Broker? So we can right click on this one because it just popped up. We go to details and it's just saying that this is runtimebroker.exe. So we can right click on that one and we can go to the file location, which is in Windows and System32, which you can't touch this directory. So that's a normal Windows file. Nothing weird there. Now, if there was an application in here and it's sending and receiving tons of network data for some reason, so let's just say NordVPN, we can go into the firewall. Then for the inbound rules in here, we can just start typing in NordVPN and it just comes up. And you can just take all of these and delete them. And then NordVPN no longer has an inbound rule. So nothing can actually be received by NordVPN. And the exact same thing would apply for the outbound rules. If you're doing something like this, it is a very good idea to make a backup of any of these files that you're removing by just disabling the rule. Then restart your computer and make sure that everything is still working fine. Because if you flat out delete it and then suddenly nothing works because it can't get internet, you have to manually add it again and you have to figure out whatever all of the settings were that it previously had. But again, like I'm beating a dead horse here. This is a legit copy from Windows. There's absolutely nothing going on here. The biggest thing to take away from this it's so hard to explain this. Like, obviously, yeah, they care. They don't want people pirating their software, right? That makes sense. Nobody does, because that's how you don't make money. But the truth on the matter is that we, like you watching this video, me using this operating system, we're a fraction of Microsoft's market share. So let's just quickly do some math because everybody loves that. We're going to do 76% of the entire market share. That's roughly Microsoft's entire global share of computers being used, is that they are holding just over 3/4 of the global share. Okay, and that's over 8 billion people. That's with a B. So now 0.76 times 8 billion. Okay, so that's roughly 6,080 million people, because we're estimating there's more than 8 billion people in the world, and I'm sure this market share value fluctuates. So this is just some loose napkin math here. It's nothing dead set. Okay, but even at 6.08 billion, again, like billion, and you are one of 6.08 billion. Now let's give this like the worst case scenario. Okay, so now let's say that roughly 36 million people. So let's take our 36 million and we're going to divide that by our 6,080 million. And then we can multiply that by 100. And that gives us a 0.59% market share. 0.59%. So that means that if the entire country of Canada switches to a pirated copy of Windows 11 Internet of Things Enterprise Long-Term Servicing Channel, then we would only be taking away a 0.59% market share of Microsoft's operating systems. They literally do not care that this exists. Like their income is not off of the operating system anymore. They don't care. They want your data. The data is what's worth billions of dollars because they're sharing it to millions of advertising companies that are then making billions of dollars off of other advertising companies like Google and Facebook and YouTube. So actually buying a copy of Windows literally does not matter anymore. Microsoft does not care about this. And to even go further to show you how much Microsoft doesn't care, back on the Massgrave website for the activator right here, we can actually go up into the top right corner where it says GitHub repository, and we can click on that because the Microsoft activation script, it's hosted on GitHub, which is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft is hosting their own pirated activation. Like it literally doesn't matter. Like I can't emphasize this enough that Microsoft literally does not care about it at all. Their main market share are businesses, schools, and like the common user who's actually going to be buying stuff from ads. The people who are in a technical field where they're going to be doing advanced things to a computer, we're not the ones who are buying stuff from ads anyway. We're not the people that they want data from regardless. So just in case you didn't want to run this activation script so you can have like your super legit copy of like Windows 11 Internet of Things Enterprise Long-Term Service Channel, the only reason to activate your copy of Windows is to get rid of the activate Windows and to be able to customize the operating systems. You can kind of change a few things. You'll be able to change the theme. So you'll be able to pick one of these default themes, but you won't be able to do this out of the box. In order to add the ability to use the theme section of the personalization section of the settings app, so the Windows key and R to open run, and we can reg edit, which is going to open the registry editor. We'll just kind of scooch that over a little bit. And we can go to the H key current user. From here, we can go to control panel and we can go to desktop. Now with the desktop folder selected in these files right here, we want to find paint desktop version, and we can open this, and you're going to want to change the value from 1 to 0. So mine's already on 0 because it is activated, but if it's on 1, it'll say the activation thing on the desktop. If it's on 0, it won't say the activation thing on the desktop. So now I'll set that to 1. I don't actually know if it'll bring it back. It might. And with that changed, all we have to do is restart the computer. So we can restart. Yeah, okay, that's weird. So instead of it saying the activate Windows thing, it actually just says the build, which is an insider preview. So that's weird, because this isn't an insider preview. This is like the legit released copy from Microsoft. This is their public release of it, but for some reason it's still recognizing it as an insider preview thing. But wait, there's more. We can still change the themes. Because in order to do that, again, Windows key and R, except this time we're gonna go to the group policy editor.microsoft crap. Now on this here, we're just gonna scooch that little guy right over there. And under the user configuration, we're gonna go to the administrative templates. We're gonna open control panel and then personalization. Now in here we have prevent changing themes. So we can actually just open this and you can disable it. And that's going to allow you to change the theme. But because this is an activated version, all of these are not configured because they're already unlocked. So if we expand that there, you can see that none of them are configured because they don't need to be. We don't need a manual setting for this because this version of Windows is already activated. But you can also go in here and you can change the background as well, and then you'll be able to add different wallpapers. You can change the colors of whatever you want, and you can change the theme to like dark mode or something. Now, once you do anything in here, you have to right click on the start button. You got to go to PowerShell or command prompt or whatever. We're just going to GP update and then a / and force it. Now that's updating the group policy. So any changes that we made in there are going to reflect on the system. Okay, and there we go. The computer policy update has completed successfully, and the user policy update has completed successfully. Awesome, great. Let's just do that right there. Oh my god, what is this? You're not subscribed to the channel? Oh, that's so weird. Oh my god. Okay, it's almost like you should like the video or something and like subscribe if you haven't already, because that helps me out and that's super cool. Or don't. I'm not telling you what to do.